Cadillac is finally back on top in IMSA. After nearly a year without a win in the WeatherTech Championship, Cadillac finally returned to the top step in 2025. And what better place to do it than at the legendary Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It wasn't an easy achievement to secure though, as the V-Series R entries had to battle hard with the GTP runners and perfect their strategies. But in the end, Cadillac broke their drought. Remarkably, the car that even delivered the victory, the number 31 Whelen Engineering Cadillac, hadn't won a race in almost 3 years, but now the wait is finally over. Before this weekend got underway, Cadillac had been having a tough season in IMSA. The American brand sat 4th in the GTP standings coming out of Road America after being overtaken by BMW, with only 3 podiums to its name all year. In fact, none of those podiums had come from the number 31 Whelen car, which ended up winning here at Indy, with a best finish of 4th for this car throughout the year. And to make matters worse, just 2 races prior at Watkins Glen, driver Earl Bamber and the Action Express racing crew suffered heartbreak when a late pit stop cost them the win. But at Indy, however, they would have redemption. Even before qualifying or the race got underway, in the opening practice sessions, it was clear that Acura looked to have the car to beat. Tom Blomqvist set the pace in qualifying and put the number 60 Acura on provisional pole with a blistering 1 minute 14.569 lap time. But after failing post-qualifying inspection, the car was sent to 12th on the grid, just behind the number 85 JDC Miller Motorsports Porsche. That promoted Jack Aitken and the Whelen Cadillac to pole position, with both Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillacs lining up right behind with the 40 ahead of the 10. And for the first time since 2021, Cadillac would lock out the top 3 positions on the IMSA grid. When the green flags were waved to begin this 6-hour endurance race, Aitken launched well in the number 31, although Nick Yololi charged through from 5th to split the Cadillacs in his number 93 Acura and get into 2nd for MSR. As the race progressed, after 2 early caution periods plus a pit stop cycle for the majority of GTP entries, Ricky Taylor briefly took the lead for WTR. But Aitken soon powered back to the front, getting by Matt Campbell's number 6 Porsche Penske, and then he had an intense battle with Taylor's number 10 V-Series R. And eventually, with this great move at turn 1, he got by the American racer. The number 31 Cadillac soon came into the pit lane, and during that second stop at Indy for the Whelen Engineering crew, Aitken handed over to Frederick Vesti, who impressed by keeping the car in control at the head of the field, despite relentless pressure from the 2 Acuras from Meyer-Shank Racing, which sat primarily in 2nd and 3rd positions overall. With time progressing fast with just over 2 hours remaining, Frederick Vesti finally got out of the car after his successful stint holding back the 2 Acuras, which therefore left Earl Bamber to climb on board the red Cadillac. But almost immediately, Bamber was right in the middle of a very intense fight for the lead. The alternate strategy from the number 10 WTR Cadillac had brought Albuquerque back into the fight for the win, and hopefully this would allow WTR to grab their 4th podium of the year and potentially the top step this time. Philippe snatched the lead right before handing off to Ricky for the final stint, setting up a Cadillac versus Cadillac showdown to the finish, with Acura's entry still in close pursuit for the win as well. Inside the final hour, a caution period for the hood coming loose on the number 70 Inception Racing Ferrari and GTD reshuffled the order in GTP, which eventually brought every manufacturer into the top 6 in the Grand Touring Prototype category, which was the first time we would see this across the entire year, with Cadillac leading BMW, Acura, Lamborghini, Porsche, and Aston Martin with that phenomenal sounding Valkyrie in 6th place. Unexpectedly, Jack Aitken took over for Earl Bamber on the final stop for Action Express Racing, and soon it became quite clear that the real fight for the win was between 3 cars: Aitken's leading Whelen Engineering Cadillac, the number 60 Meyer-Shank Racing Acura of Tom Blomqvist, and the number 10 WTR Cadillac of Ricky Taylor. Taylor charged back through the pack on that alternate strategy, getting past entries such as the Lamborghini SC63 and those two RLL BMWs, and eventually he muscled past Blomqvist Acura to move into second right behind Jack Aitken. However, mileage became the key factor for the remainder of this race for the Indiana-based team, as WTR risked running short and having to make a late pit stop and lose the podium, as without a caution period, WTR would likely have to stop one more time, which was eerily similar to what we saw from the Watkins Glen race with Whelen Engineering's car. Although Wayne Taylor Racing got the miracle that they were hoping for, as a late race caution was called out for debris on track again, this time for the CrowdStrike Racing LMP2 entry, which had hit the wall after contact with the number 2. And this caution period ultimately allowed Taylor to conserve the energy and make it to the finish in that number 10 car, which all but guaranteed Cadillac's phenomenal result. On the restart, with just 2 laps to go, Aitken controlled the pace perfectly, and neither Taylor, who was trying to make it to the finish with that low energy on the number 10, and Blomqvist behind could challenge the impressive pace of the British driver. And therefore, after nearly 3 years without a win, the number 31 Whelen Engineering Cadillac crossed the line in first, with Aitken leading away a Cadillac 1-2 at the Brickyard. Action Express Racing, along with their drivers Jack Aitken, Earl Bamber, and Frederick Vesti, finally returned to victory lane, securing their first win since the 12 Hours of Sebring in 2023, and earning the chance to kiss those famous Indy bricks. For Cadillac, this was more than just a win. It was a statement. After a year of frustration in IMSA, the American manufacturer finally came back on top in the WeatherTech series. But now my question is, will Cadillac be able to repeat this form at Petit Le Mans in October and go back-to-back in IMSA? And I'm curious to know how you feel about the American manufacturer's long-awaited return to IMSA's victory lane. Well, as always, let me know everything in the comments below.